When Joe Biden announced his run for a second term for the presidency, you'd be hard-pressed to find an Asian-American Filipino more important to him than U.S. billionaire Loida Nicholas Lewis.
My name is Loida Nicholas Lewis, and I am a proud Filipino-American.
Loida Nicholas Lewis in her Nevada rally campaign pitch for Biden in the 2020 elections referred to Trump as this 45th president, this Twitter-in-chief, liar-in-chief, mean-spirited, misogynist, racist, self-centered, dangerous juvenile, who wants to make America white again.
This 45th president, this Twitter-in-chief, this liar-in-chief, this mean-spirited, misogynist, racist, self-centered, dangerous juvenile wants to make America white again.
In the 2016 national elections in the Philippines, Loida Nicholas Lewis, who was born and raised in the Philippines but who is now a U.S. citizen based in New York, personally donated political contributions as well as recruited many other U.S. citizens to give political contributions by openly raising funds for her Philippine vice presidential candidate Leni Robredo, which is in gross violation of the Philippine Omnibus Election Code. In the Philippine Commission on Elections Executive Order Case No. 17-049, entitled Luis R. Villaferte versus Loida Nicholas Lewis, the Commission on May 6, 2024 resolved, as it hereby resolves, to adopt the recommendation of the Law Department to deny the motion for reconsideration of Loida Nicholas Lewis for lack of merit, and that COMELEC Minute Resolution No. 21-0487-32, which resolved to file an information against Loida Nicholas Lewis for alleged violation of Section 99 of the Omnibus Election Code, be affirmed. Attorney Luis R. Villaferte, the complainant, was a former governor, congressman and two-time cabinet member in the Philippines. He filed cases against Loida Nicholas Lewis with the Commission on Elections in 2019 for her violation of Sections 96, 98 and 99 of the Omnibus Election Code. It is unlawful in the Philippines to solicit or receive contributions from foreign sources. Loida Nicholas Lewis also failed to report the foreign contributions not later than 30 days after the day of the election, and to file with the Commission on Elections a report under oath stating the amount, date of each contribution and the person or entity who made the contribution, which is an election offense and under said Omnibus Election Code Section 264. It is punishable by imprisonment of not less than 1 year but not more than 6 years and shall not be subject to probation. In addition, the guilty party shall be sentenced to suffer disqualification to hold public office and deprivation of the right of suffrage. The COMELEC Resolution No. 21-0487-32, which resolved to file an information against Loida Nicholas Lewis, means that there is probable cause. Probable cause refers to reasonable grounds, based on factual circumstances, that a crime has been committed and that the person accused is likely responsible. It is a standard used by law enforcement and judicial bodies to initiate actions like arrests or the issuance of a search warrant. The 2016 Philippine vice presidential candidate of Loida Nicholas Lewis was Maria Leonor Leni G. Robredo. Records show that the beneficiary of the unlawful acts complained of was Philippine vice presidential candidate Leni Robredo, who was also accused of being the Smartmatic winner, a fake vice president she was often called in the Philippines during her whole term. Andres Bautista, former COMELEC chairman from 2015 to 2017, was the COMELEC chairman during the 2016 elections in the Philippines when VP candidate Leni Robredo was allegedly selected by the Smartmatic cheating machines. She was the official VP candidate of then Philippine President Benigno Noynoy Aquino. The administration of former Philippine President Aquino authorized the use of the Smartmatic cheating machines. In the Philippines, Mark Malik Brown, who became the chairman of Smartmatic SGO from 2014 to 2020, worked with former Philippine President Corazon Aquino as her advisor in her presidential bid. Cory Aquino is the mother of former President Noynoy Aquino. Mark Malik Brown even wrote Cory Aquino's victory speech. Mark Malik Brown is a close friend of billionaire George Soros, with the two having worked together in their roles at the UN and Open Society Foundations, and he rented an apartment owned by Soros while living with his family in New York working on UN assignments. Mark Malik Brown was president of the Open Society Foundations from January 1, 2021 to March 2024. He was also named vice chairman of the Soros Fund Management in 2007. President Noynoy Aquino appointed Andres Bautista as the Philippine COMELEC chairman during his administration. He is the same Andres Bautista who was indicted on November 2023 in the U.S. in connection with the 2016 national elections in the Philippines, the same national election year when vice presidential candidate Leni Robredo was installed by the Smartmatic cheating machines where she faced an electoral protest. Andres Bautista along with 3 top-level Smartmatic officials who were also indicted on August 2024 in the U.S. Southern District Court of Florida for bribery and money laundering, which includes Smartmatic founder and president Roger Alejandro Piñate Martinez, vice president for hardware development Jorge Miguel Vazquez and Smartmatic co-founder Eli Moreno. Roger Piñate, Smartmatic president and founder, was released after he was allowed to post a bond of $8.5 million. This is a major setback for the Smartmatic company that has been feuding with allies of Donald Trump over claims that it manipulated the 2020 U.S. presidential election. Smartmatic filed defamation suits in the U.S. against Trump allies Rudy Giuliani, former New York City mayor, lawyer Sidney Powell, businessman Mike Lindell and Patrick Bryan, OANN and Newsmax cable news companies. Going back to anti-Trump Loida Nicholas Lewis, her sister, her name is Imelda Nicholas, has been serving as a member of the board of the Open Society Foundation's International Migration Initiative and the Migration and Advisory Board of the International Organization for Migration. Billionaire George Soros is the founder and chairman of the Open Society Foundations. Imelda Nicholas has been receiving funding from George Soros. George Soros is connected with Smartmatic. Mark Malek Brown, former president of Smartmatic, was also the former president of the Open Society Foundations, whose founder and chairman is George Soros. Malek Brown became chairman of the board of directors of SGO Corporation Limited, a holding company whose primary asset is the election technology and voting machine manufacturer Smartmatic. Through the connections of Loida Nicholas Lewis with George Soros, Obama and the Rockefellers, she helped arrange for former Philippine Vice President Leni Robredo on November 17, 2022 to be one of the speakers at the Obama Foundation's Democracy Forum. Loida Nicholas Lewis also helped arrange for former VP Leni Robredo to be one of the fellows at the Rockefeller Foundation's Bellagio, Italy Center residency program in February 2024. Incidentally, in a November 5, 2020 Twitter post of Aka and Trisha Robredo, the daughters of former VP Leni Robredo, they mocked and poked fun at Trump's cheating claims versus rival Biden. When Trump tweeted on November 4, 2020, "We are up big, but they are trying to steal the election. We will never let them do it. Votes cannot be cast after the polls are closed." Robredo's daughter Trisha retweeted in her account with a comment that references the 2016 elections in the Philippines, where her mother, the Smartmatic-selected Vice President Leni Robredo, also received similar accusations of stealing the elections just like Biden. Known deep state players George Soros and former President Obama are both closely allied with Democratic Party contributor Loida Nicholas Lewis and former Philippine Vice President Leni Robredo. One of Trump's more common refrains was to declare Obama's presidency a disaster. At a Florida news conference, Trump said, Obama, has been a disaster as a president. He will go down as one of the worst presidents in the history of our country. It is a mess. Attorney Luis R. Villafuerte, the complainant who filed the COMELEC cases against Loida Nicholas Lewis, is the same person who also sued Smartmatic and COMELEC on August 29, 2019 in the Philippines because he was a victim of the Smartmatic cheating machines in the Philippine congressional elections. In a 20-page complaint, backed up by 600 pages of documentary evidences filed by attorney Luis R. Villafuerte at the Philippine DOJ, which was forwarded by the DOJ to the Office of the Ombudsman on September 18, 2019, the former COMELEC chairman Andres Bautista was named as one of the respondents along with the 5 other COMELEC commissioners and Smartmatic officials. While the Office of the Ombudsman in the Philippines did not do anything on this case since it was filed in 2019, however, fate would have it that the same bad actors, the COMELEC and Smartmatic officials, are now finally facing criminal charges in the U.S. courts since November 2023 for Andres Bautista and August 2024 for the 3 Smartmatic officials, all in connection with the 2016 national and local elections in the Philippines. The complaint filed by Luis R. Villafuerte is to hold all the officials of COMELEC and Smartmatic culpable and accountable for their gross violations of the automated election systems and their illegal deployment of dysfunctional vote-counting machines which suffered technical glitches coupled with application programs that tampered with and manipulated the results of the elections, thereby perpetuating fraud, anomalies, and irregularities during the 2016 national and local elections in the Philippines. The second reason of Luis R. Villafuerte's complaint was to provide a factual and legal basis to prevent, bar and disqualify Smartmatic from participating in future Philippine elections, particularly in the 2022 national and local polls. Luis R. Villafuerte passed away on September 8, 2021, but the criminal nature of the subject election offenses under Section 263 of the Omnibus Election Code of the Philippines and the public interest involved therein survive the death of the complainant, and the same criminal nature and public interest involved allow the continuation of the prosecution of the instant cases de officio. Justice is now finally catching up with anti-Trump U.S. billionaire Loida Nicholas Lewis on her election offenses in the Philippines, as well as with the former COMELEC chairman Andres Bautista and the three top-level Smartmatic officials on charges of bribery and money laundering, all in connection with the Philippine national elections in 2016, whose main beneficiary is former Vice President Leni Robredo. If proven guilty, COMELEC chairman Andres Bautista and all three Smartmatic officials, which includes its founder and president Roger Alejandro Piñate, will face 25 years of jail time. It is not surprising that the U.S. courts indicted three Smartmatic officials, its president Roger Piñate and its two vice presidents Moreno and Vasquez, on bribery and money laundering charges, along with the former Philippine Commission on Elections chairman Andres Bautista, all in connection with the 2016 national and local elections in the Philippines. For context, the Philippine election contract with Smartmatic is the single largest election contract in the world, while the elections in the United States are carried out independently by each county and each state. Thus, the Philippine election contract is much coveted by election system providers such as Smartmatic. Smartmatic has been monopolizing the Philippine elections as the election system provider since 2010 up to the latest 2022 national elections. Most government officials in the Philippines are not really elected by the people but are selected by the Smartmatic cheating machines. But more than just the multi-million income that Smartmatic is getting from the election contract with the Philippine government, Smartmatic earns 100-fold more from selling elective public positions to the highest bidder for the positions of president, vice president, senators, congressmen, governors and mayors through its fraudulent election system. If the U.S. courts indicted Smartmatic officials due to money laundering and bribing the former Philippine Commission of Elections chairman Andres Bautista with $1 million, then you can be sure that for the past 14 years the Filipino general public has been speculating that Smartmatic has also been bribing not just Commission on Election officials but several of the Philippine justices of the Supreme Court, the Office of the Ombudsman, the mainstream media, the House of Representatives Electoral Tribunal, the senators, the congressmen, the military, the police, because Smartmatic will not allow for any electoral protest in the Philippines to be successful in its attempt to prove Smartmatic's fake results to protect their image. The Philippine courts for the past several years will mostly dismiss any case against Smartmatic and/or will not act on any complaints or cases filed, as they are most likely also receiving bribe money from Smartmatic. But by God's grace and mighty hand we can be sure that in due time, truth will triumph, justice will prevail, judgments will be served. Crime does not pay.